Let me just say this again so it lands. Just because you're functioning doesn't mean you're healing. Yes, you heard me right. So let's start here, because suppression can feel like progress, but it's actually protection. And while protection has a purpose in the beginning, hey beautiful, are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal, trauma, and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty Beyond Betrayal podcast. I'm actually excited about today's broadcast because it's going to answer a very good question that most women have at some point of their healing journey. What is it? Well, am I actually healing, or am I just getting really good at pretending I'm okay? Have you felt that before? I remember I did. Because here's the truth. Just because you're functioning doesn't mean you're healing. You know the things, you know the drill. You can go to work, you can take care of your kids, you can even laugh again and still be deeply wounded underneath the surface of it all. And if we don't address that, well, what's buried doesn't stay buried. It actually shows up later in triggers, anxiety, disconnection, and in the inability to truly rebuild trust. So today, I'm going to help you to clearly identify the difference between suppression and true healing, what's happening inside of your brain when you avoid the pain, and how to move from surviving to actually being restored. Doesn't that sound great? So grab your pen and paper. You know the drill. Let's get an iced latte, shall we? It's summertime almost. I know, not in every place, but we have hit spring. It's beautiful outside. And for those of you who are Jeepers, yes, I'm a Jeeper. I own a Jeep and I love it. And listen, the top is always dropped this time of year. Yes, even with the pollen. I'm a glutton for punishment, but I love to drop the top, have the sunshine shining on me, and just drive. So it's summertime, it's springtime, and we are going to enjoy it. So grab an iced latte. Let's take a little bit of a time out, and let's answer this question for you. So let me say it again so it really lands this time. Just because you're functioning doesn't mean that you're healing. So let's kind of start here. What is it that suppression looks like really? What is that? Well, suppression can feel like progress, but it's actually protection. And while protection has a purpose in the beginning, it was never meant to be perfect and permanent, right? Protection just isn't. We want to put up the walls. We want to, have our dukes up, so to speak. We want to protect ourselves at all cost. But it's never meant to be permanent, because if we wall ourselves off, we're never going to get back into true connection, into true attachment once again inside relationship. Now, suppression often looks like avoiding the hard conversations because they just feel way too much. It's also shutting down emotionally to keep the peace. Have you done that one? I know I did. Maybe it's telling yourself, it's in the past. I should be over this by now. I was very hard on myself with that one. I did not grant grace for a while. Or maybe it's staying too busy so you don't have to feel it Guilty. I became a workaholic because if I could stay busy, maybe I wouldn't have to look the monster in the face. Then maybe it's numbing out. How do we do that? Through scrolling, food, distractions, even over spiritualizing. And yes, I've done every one of them. And also, suppression looks like pretending you're, quote, fine, end quote, when deep down, you're not. How many of you know the Friends episode where Ross is over there going, I'm fine. Really, I'm fine. I don't know why my voice is so squeaky, but I'm fine. We're all guilty, aren't we? Yes, we are. But we're not fine. So why do we do this? Why? Well, it's protection. We are seriously trying to protect ourselves. And here's what I see so often. Women especially say things like, I don't want to bring it up again. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to feel too crazy. I don't want to push him away. All of the I don'ts, right? So instead of processing, you're suppressing. But suppression doesn't heal the wound, beautiful. It just hides it. So what happens actually to you when you do suppress? Because that is a real danger, and we need to look at that. So what you suppress doesn't disappear. I know that we feel like, okay, if I just shove this down deep enough, put it under the rug, it won't come back up. Push that thing way down. It'll disappear, but it doesn't. It actually stores. It stays inside your body, it stays in your nervous system, and it stays in your thoughts. That book, The Body Keeps the Score, it really, really does. And eventually, guess what happens? It leaks out. And it leaks out in the form of sudden emotional explosions. It could be anxiety that feels like it comes out of nowhere. I had a few of those and had to pull off the side of the road. Maybe it's intrusive thoughts that just can't shut off. You know that loop, right? Over and over and over again. And you just want to pull your brain out of your head. Maybe it's physical symptoms, that tight chest. Maybe it's that nausea. You eat a little bit, you feel real sick. Or maybe it's the insomnia. You just can't sleep. And then it's in the form of the disconnection in your marriage. So if you've ever thought, well, why am I struggling still when I'm trying so hard to move on? Well, this might be why. You might be suppressing instead of really healing. So let's talk for a minute then about what healing actually looks like so that you can start to distinguish the two and you can move into the healing process instead of staying in the suppression. So what does it look like? Real healing is not pretending that it didn't happen. Healing is not just forgiving and moving on either. Healing is actually a process, and it can look like many different things. Now, here are just a few. It can look like processing the pain instead of avoiding it. And that means sitting in it, really thinking it through, allowing your body to sense it, to feel it, to experience it. And I know some of you are like, you have got to be kidding me, Lisa, because that doesn't feel so good. When I think of that, it makes me feel like I need to run and hide. I get it, because the feelings can feel so overwhelming that you feel like you're never going to come back from them. But unless we process them, they stay in control instead of us being able to overcome them. Also, healing can look like naming what actually happened without minimizing it. Calling a spade, in other words, right? Or it's allowing yourself to feel without shame. That's important. Let's also look at this one, bringing truth into what was hidden. Right? We need to dispel the lies, bring everything into the light. It could also be rebuilding safety internally and relationally, working on a personal safety action plan, working on a crisis stabilization plan for your marriage. And it can also look like integrating the experience so it no longer controls you. That's what healing can look like. And remember, healing is not quick. I know we wish it would be, but it's not. And it's also not linear. But healing is transformational. It moves you from a place of, well, this broke me, to the place of, well, God is rebuilding me. Now, why do I share this? Why does any of this matter? Because there's a neuroscience side of this as well. And this is important. So I want to talk to you about what's happening inside of your brain, because it's important for you to recognize this. Because when betrayal happens, your brain encodes it as trauma. It really is trauma. That fear center in your brain goes on high alert and your nervous system shifts into survival mode. You know the terms, fight, flight, freeze. Of course you do. Now, here's the key. Avoidance actually reinforces your trauma. Let me say that again. Avoidance actually reinforces your trauma. The more I tried to avoid the fact that I was dealing with betrayal trauma, the bigger it got, because the trauma increased. And it wasn't until I looked that monster of betrayal trauma in the face that I started to heal. You cannot heal from something you're unwilling to face. And when you avoid the pain, your brain learns, oh no, this is dangerous, don't go there. And what does that do? Well, it actually strengthens the neural pathways around fear and anxiety. But when you process it safely and intentionally, you actually activate that part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and your brain begins to rewire. And that's what is called neuroplasticity. Now, what does all this mean? It means that you're not stuck in the way you feel right now. No, that should bring good news to you. But healing requires engagement, okay? Not avoidance, but engagement. So now let's look at it biblically really quickly, because this aligns so powerfully with Scripture. You see, Luke 8:17 tells us, "For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." Okay? So what is hidden will eventually be revealed. The Lord tells us this, not to harm you, but to heal you. Now, that should be ringing the bell for some of you. I mean, ding, 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 right there. What do I mean? That means D-Day was not meant to destroy you. And I know many of us, when we first experienced D-Day, and that first year afterwards, sometimes many years afterwards, we look at D-Day as, oh my gosh, this is the day that destroyed my life. But in reality, if we take this verse right here and we apply God's truth to D-Day, then the reality is that on D-Day, that nothing was hidden anymore. It was disclosed. It was not concealed any longer, for it was brought out into the open. It was revealed, not to harm you, but again, to heal you. I pray that just rewired some of your brains, because I know that the day that the Lord spoke that to my heart and He reframed that for me, and He said, I want you to see that D-Day was not the day that destroyed you, but it was the day that I revealed this to you so you could heal. It was a game changer for me. You see, God does not heal what we hide. He heals what is brought into the light. So when we bring it into the light, He heals it. And that includes your pain, your questions, your anger, your grief. And this is not weakness. This is where true transformation begins. So I want to ask you a few questions, beautiful. Just a few. And answer them honestly. Be radically honest with yourself right now. Are you avoiding conversations because they feel too overwhelming? Are you telling yourself you should be, quote, over it by now? Or are you Are your triggers still intense even after time has passed? And the last question is, do you feel disconnected, numb, or emotionally shut down? Well, if the answer is yes, please hear me. You might not be healing. You might not be. You may be suppressing. And that's not a place of shame. Please understand that. This is a place of awareness. This is where you get to look truth square in the face, and awareness is where real change begins. So here's what I want you to understand. Coping keeps you functioning, but healing transforms you. Coping says, all right, let's just get through another day. But healing says, no, let's restore what's been broken. You see, coping manages your symptoms, while healing actually addresses the root of the trauma. And this is why I see so many couples stay stuck. Why? Because they're just coping. They're not healing. They're actually coping. So what is it that you actually need? Right? That's the real question. What is it that you actually need? Well, you don't need just time. You really don't, because what you do with your time is really what changes things. So what is it that you need? Well, you need structure. You need safety, guidance. You need a process that walks you through healing step by step. Because without structure, you either spiral or you suppress. And neither leads to restoration. And that's why marriage redesign exists. Because most couples either avoid the pain or they drown in it, one of the two, and neither leads to healing. But inside of marriage redesign, we walk you through a proven step-by-step process that helps you to stabilize your nervous system. You get to process the betrayal safely. You learn how to rebuild trust with structure and move from survival mode to true relational connection. You see, this isn't about coping. This is about complete transformation, individually and as a couple. That's what our triune healing method is all about. And I'll tell you this, the couples who commit to the process, well, they don't just survive betrayal. No, they experience a completely redesigned marriage. So if that's you, you're ready to move from suppressing all of this stuff to true healing, and I mean real healing, then I want you to schedule a consultation call with us. Below in the show notes, you can click on the link that says Marriage Redesigned. There, it'll take you to schedule your free consult with us. And then we'll sit down, we'll talk about where you are, what's keeping you stuck, and what it would look like to walk this out with the support that you so need and deserve. And we would love to help you with that. Listen, friends, you don't have to keep pretending you're okay, and you don't have to stay stuck in survival mode. Healing is available for you, but it requires honesty. It requires courage, and it requires bringing what's hidden into the light. And when you do, well, that's where God begins to rebuild. He really does. And for those of you who are committed, who are really ready to dig in and do the work, then the consult's for you. That's your next step. That really is. And it does require you to be committed to the process because, well, we're going to ask you to be committed to it because God does work in this. It has a 99% success rate. Now, go below, grab your consult while they're still available, and we can't wait to meet you. And as always, I want you to know I'm here with you, walking this journey with you all along the way. And until next time, remember, there truly is beauty beyond betrayal. Be blessed. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.